Jaguars, baby. And we gotta keep it hype.
Keep it hype.
Represent it for life. You know how we do it. Woo! Hey! Jacksonville Jags. We don't mean to brag, but when we on the field, we got it in the bag. Jacksonville Jags. You know how we ball. Best believe it. Got the people screaming out, Duval. Jacksonville Jags. We don't mean to brag, but when we on the field, we got it in the bag. Jacksonville Jags. You know how we ball. Best believe it. Got the people screaming out, Duval. Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars. Too much for your crew to...
And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Club Jaguar, your favorite Jaguars live show right here every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. And we have a fully loaded show, but before we get into it, man, I want to let you guys know that these streams are powered by BetUS. If you guys are interested in getting in on the sports gambling game, look, BetUS is going to have an awesome promo code for you. 150% deposit bonus using promo code YouTube150. Of course, a little later on in the stream, we'll check out some different bets that we may, want to partake in, and we can roll into the rest of the NFL season. 3 games left, but I do want to bring in my other host. I have Jordan DeLugo from the Gen Jag YouTube channel. What's going on, Jordan?
What is up, Dalton? How we doing?
All is good here, man. All is good here. And by the way, Jason is set to join us. He's going to be a few minutes late, so once he comes in here, we will go ahead and bring him in. But yeah, the Jaguars, another game down, 3 to go. Jaguars 3-11. Jaguars lose to the New York Jets, but I'd argue that, man, that was a much more exciting loss than the win was against the Tennessee Titans last week. I mean, we scored some touchdowns. There was some back and forth. We had the Prowler uniforms on. Brian Thomas Jr. took off. Britton Strange, double-digit catches. So lots of good things. So, Jordan, I want to get your thoughts on, this last game against the Jets.
Yeah, the defense kind of fell apart at the end, but at least there was some life in the Prowlers. Like, you can't just come out and look atrocious in the Prowlers. And you lost to a really bad football team, but at least they felt like a football team somewhat. You could look out there and see Brian Thomas Jr. performing at a high level, and Britton Strange and some of the defensive guys. So, yeah, I mean, overall, a lot more points than I expected. I expected it to be a low-scoring affair, primarily because the Jaguars' offense has been horrendous with Mac Jones for the most part. And I expected the Jets defense to put up a fight. I expected the Jags defense to put up more of a fight, especially down the stretch, but that's not how it played out.
Yeah, and that was the big thing. I think the over-under was at like 40 points or something like that, and combined, what was that, like 57 points was the actual total. So
yeah,
there was a lot of points, and like we said, a lot of back and forth. Like fun stuff from the offense. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. absolutely took off, like we said, man. Over 100 yards again, 2 touchdowns. So a big 2-touchdown game. Saw some things from the young guys, Britton Strange. And it really is a shame that it takes an Evan Ingram injury to get Britton Strange involved in this offense at all. Because, man, he's a really good tight end, it feels like. Or maybe not really good, but it feels like he has a lot of potential, I should say. And hopefully the Jaguars can bring in a good head coach next year that can figure out how to utilize the talent there. But Jordan, here's with you. How'd you feel about Britton Strange, and do you think that we'll see his role really expand in 2025?
I don't know. Regarding his role, that will depend on the coaching staff and what happens with the position as a whole. I mean, Evan Ingram is under contract, but the Jaguars could save money by moving on. Luke Farrell is said to be a free agent, but Britton Strange is a player who, when they drafted him in the 2nd round, I had a 3rd-round grade on him, but my kind of last line about him is this is a player who could greatly exceed draft value based on his explosiveness, his strong hands, his physicality in the run game as a blocker, his space blocking ability. And so I think you've seen all those things show up when he's been given opportunities, especially this year. He's been fairly consistent. When targeted, he's been consistent. I think in this game, you didn't see much variety in the type of routes he was running. It was mostly those kind of short to intermediate, you know, out type routes, nothing crazy, but he did the job. He was targeted 12 times and he caught 11 of those passes. Like that's the type of consistency you have not seen from players on this football team throughout this year. And again, he's done a good job in the blocking department as well. So I'm excited about his future. I don't know that you look at him as like a future Pro Bowler or anything like that, but certainly a glue player at the very least.
Yeah, and it feels like there are some building blocks here. It's just still puzzling, I think, on the defensive side because I liked a lot of what I saw, on the offense, and even it feels like Walker Little ever since signing that new deal, he's been felt like really good playing left tackle for us, and it just feels like when I look at the offense, there's some good pieces there, but man, on the defense, it's just like. Man, like once again, more coverage busts. It felt like we weren't getting home in the pass rush. It just didn't feel like I can really confidently say like anybody had a really good game on Sunday from the defensive end. I mean, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. And the Jets are still a very talented offense. They have struggled this year. There's no question about that. But this was the type of offense, the type of team, the Jets, that, even though they're a bad football team, they had lost 9 of 10. They're the type of team with the talent that they had that I just expected to beat the Jaguars because of Garrett Wilson, because of Aaron Rodgers. Like when the Jaguars play quarterbacks, even if they're not playing at a high level at the moment, when they play quarterbacks that are super talented like that, they usually struggle. But Devontae, Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Brees Hall was available in this game. He didn't have a huge game or anything like that. But then you have talent on the defensive side of the ball as well for them. Quincy Williams, Sauce Gardner. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody had a great game defensively. I think that especially like you just didn't see Josh Hines Allen or Trayvon Walker really getting home much. And ultimately, I think it was a decent defensive performance outside of what you mentioned at the beginning, which was the coverage bust. And a lot of them happened at the end of the game. Down the stretch, last few drives, the Jets really put up a lot of points, and the Jaguars seemingly just laid down.
Yeah. And what's weird about Devontae Adams is I feel like the same thing happened when he was playing against us on the Raiders, except it happened like in his first half he had crazy production. Then he got locked down in the second half. And then this time it's just insane to have a player that had no receptions in the first half all of a sudden put up 198 yards in the second half and 2 touchdowns. I mean, incredible game from him. I don't know if there's just I don't know if the matchup between him and Tyson Campbell just isn't great. I'm curious with your thoughts on Tyson Campbell. Like, is he like? Do you feel like he's a true number 1 cornerback for the Jaguars, or do you think that he's a number 2 and we need to go out maybe in a draft and really try to find the guy that can be that next level guy?
Yeah, I do think that he is the caliber of a number 1 corner in the NFL. Murray's trying to complain here and hang out with us.
Bring him in.
Say hello.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. So he's been a little up and down this year. I kind of expected that a little bit. He, throughout his career and even in college, he's been a better zone corner than a man cover corner. And the reasons for that, I think, are just the fact that he's more comfortable with his eyes on the quarterback than he is when he's having to read and react to the receiver consistently. That's just kind of how it is. So I really think the Jaguars should be looking, if they move on from this coaching staff, which all indications are that they will, I think they should be looking to find someone who's going to run more zone coverage. Tyson Campbell's going to feel more comfortable, but you also have to factor in he's been injured a lot. There's no question about that. So whether or not he is a number 1 corner in the league, the Jaguars need another big time corner. Mm-hmm. And I think if you pair him up with another really talented corner, you can be in a position where you feel good about your 2 guys out there on the outside. And Jarian Jones, I think, is still on the right track to be a good starter at nickel.
Now, where do you think, because of course, man, it's when you look at like Tankathon and stuff, it just feels like there's going to be so much movement in the next 3 weeks. I mean, first of all, the Jaguars play like 2 teams, I should say. The Colts are a little bit more out of it. But there's going to be some movement there, and there's going to be a lot happening. I mean, where do you feel like the Jaguars would need to be? Because, I don't know if there's any, because I know you do a lot of draft prep. Like, is it out of the realm of possibility that maybe at number 5 overall, the Jaguars get a cornerback? Is the value not there for that? Maybe back to number 8. And like, who do you feel like, is there any cornerback in this draft that can be that number 1 cornerback that the Jaguars could draft?
Yeah, for sure. I think if you're talking top 10, which I think the Jaguars predictively projecting it out, I think that they're probably going to finish 5 to 8. I think they're going to beat the Raiders, and I think they'll probably beat one of the Colts or the Titans. Hopefully not all 3 teams, but I would not rule out that possibility. And in that case, they'd probably finish somewhere close to 10, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range. Just depends on how everything else shakes out with those other teams. Because there's like 5 teams that are 3-11. There's 2 teams that are 2-12. This is a really bad year for for just a lot of teams being poor in the NFL. But I do think at corner, if you do go back to a more zone heavy scheme defensively, Tyson Campbell and Travis Hunter would be a fantastic pairing. I personally like Travis Hunter more at receiver. I want him helping Trevor Lawrence out if he's on the Jacksonville Jaguars more often than not. That's kind of how I view it. I think his strength or lack thereof, at 185 pounds, is less of an issue on the offensive side of the ball than it is on defense. But he would be a really solid, again, zone cover corner. And then Will Johnson, I think, is a prototypical type of corner for whatever scheme you want to run. The only question with him right now is he's been dealing with a foot injury the end of this year. So you want to be able to see him get out there, whether it's during the combine or pro day, and run around and maybe test and show that athleticism off, right? So those are the 2 players right now really that could project that highly. If Siobhan Ravel out of ECU had not sustained a torn ACL in September, he's probably another one that would have been able to sneak up there potentially because he's got great length and athleticism. There's some other prospects that I think deserve to be in the first round conversation, but really in the top 10, I think you're looking at Will Johnson or Travis Hunter.
All right, we'll see what happens. So now, guys, we want to bring in someone to kind of stir up the controversy, get the drama going. We got Jason from Jaguars United. What up, Jason?
What's up, boys? How's
Cheers,
everyone
bro.
doing?
Dude, we are all good, man. Just waiting for you to come in. We got Jordan drinking some of the good stuff. I just got some H2O over here. What you sipping on over there, Jason?
The drones in New Jersey? Have we got to that part of the outline yet?
No, we're actually talking about the 2028 presidency.
And, okay. See, I didn't know which one y'all were going to do first. Okay. All right.
But yeah, we're just we're recapping. I guess we'll go to you, man. We're just kind of recapping the Jets game a little bit, giving some of our thoughts. I mean, the Jaguars lose 32-25, or did they lose or did they win? For me, it's a win, but I know different people how they feel whether their team tank or team win. I guess give us your overall thoughts of the game.
Oh, well, I mean, I was there. I had a great time. So even though we lost, so that was good. Like in the moment, I kind of wanted to win. And then like in the end of the 4th quarter, I was kind of like, this is kind of win-win situation. Because if we win, I get to like go home with a win. And if we lose, I get to go home with a better draft pick. So it actually worked out pretty well for me. I had a great time in the game, had some fun tailgating. Found my buddy leaning up against a random pole on the way out. I had no idea where he was. So that was, great tailgate experience. And Alan Lazard didn't get a catch on us. So, that's always good. It's always good when that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, Alan Lazard, I don't know if all y'all know, he threw a little bit of shade at the Jaguars a year or 2 ago, saying like, oh, I start off in Jacksonville in the darkness. And Steve Simpson's like, yeah, but you got to get some love to them, man. They started your NFL career, but yeah, the games are funny because, of course, I want the Jaguars to lose, but I'm not sitting there like, yes, when the Jets score. It's just like, I'm having fun watching the game, like excited that, guys like Brian Thomas Jr. are putting on. And the 4th quarter comes here, then the Jaguars kind of have the lead. I'm like, all right, let's stop doing what we're doing. Let's have some coverage busts, which we're very good at. That we are. And then even at the very end of the game, I mean, the Jets had terrible clock management. Just let us. Just ran in for a touchdown, gave us the ball back with like, what was it, like 120 or something with like all 2 or 3 of our timeouts. And then, Yeah, Jaguars couldn't do anything with it. I mean, they drove down a little bit, but terrible interception by Mac Jones. And he actually broke. Sauce Gardner had so many games with that interception. Broke that. The Jets had their first win in Florida in like forever. But yeah, the Jaguars, I think if they won that game, they would have dropped to like 8 or 9 in the draft order. We're sitting at number 4 right now. I don't know how much more we can move up. Obviously, the game this weekend is going to be huge against the Raiders. So, if the Jaguars can lose with them somehow, getting up to number 2 or 3, but if they win, they're going to back up a little bit. But that's going to be a tough game to lose, I should say. So,
how about Brian Thomas Jr. and Brenton Strange kind of going off though?
Yeah,
that was good to see.
It's good stuff, man. I mean, double-digit catches for Brenton Strange, and when you look at Brian Thomas Jr., I mean, 9th in the NFL in receiving yards with 956, so only needs 44 more receiving yards to hit 1,000. So what is that? 11 yard, or I guess a little more than that, 16 yards per game. About the next 3 games to hit that. He's actually second in rookies. Brock Bowers actually first in rookies and receiving yards. He's got like 10 or so more than Brian Thomas Jr. So he's having an incredible year. Brian Thomas Jr. is also 6th in touchdowns in the NFL and first amongst rookies. He has 8 touchdown catches on the year. Of course, hauled in 2 touchdown passes last weekend, and even has 3 total touchdowns wearing the Prowler uniforms.
That's
so. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we need any more evidence to go back to them, but Jaguars, okay. I imagine, will do something.
All right, I didn't watch the film this week. Sue me. I'm not going into this as a setup gotcha question. I genuinely want to know, probably more Jordan, because he probably watched it more than Dalton and I did. Yes. How did Walker Little do at left tackle?
Walker Little played great.
Did he?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely asking. Asking.
He played good. He played good. I thought the protection was fine most of the day for them. Honestly, I thought the offensive line was fine. Obviously, they're not a great run blocking unit, to say the least. But I thought Walker did good. I think I actually saw today somebody post on Twitter that he was the highest graded Jaguar by PFF in the game. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, it's a bad day to be, a bad week to be a Walker Little hater, because last Thursday Garrett Bowles signed an extension. And
yes. Cam Robinson played horrible the other night for the Vikings. I think he had like 5 false start penalties.
He's got to get the cadence, okay? He's got to get Sam Darnold's cadence.
Yeah, man. Walker Little's been balling out. He's having a heck of a run here. Last 5 weeks. I mean, in the last 5 games, he's allowed a total of 5 quarterback pressures. And he's been doing a pretty good job in the run game.
That's the thing, Mac Jones.
And it's a value at $15 million per year. I mean, it's a value.
Yeah, and it's not like Mac Jones. He's not getting pressured all that much back there. I mean, yeah, you got to navigate around the pocket a little bit, but feels like a lot of stuff set up for him. I mean, maybe the run game. I kind of have a bone to pick. Like, I feel like the running backs didn't have a great game. I don't know. Do you guys think it's a bad year for ETN? I just feel like he's missing so many holes. He's stretching things out way too much. I just don't know. Like, it feels like his rookie year or second year, or whatever you want to call that year in 2022, he was just hitting the holes way harder. It's just, I don't know. He seems like a different running back this year. Do you guys think that? Do you guys kind of feel the same way? Is there? You guys think he's hurt at all, or do you think he's just not having a good year?
I don't think he's getting in rhythm at all. I think it's difficult when you've been injured, you've been in and out of the lineup, you've had times where Tank gets more run. But yeah, I mean, he's not, and that's been an issue for him. I think it's been a bigger issue this year. He's just not seeing it. And there's not great run blocking either. There's no doubt about that. But he's not seeing it at all. He's not hitting the holes. He's not running with the right pace, it seems like a lot. So it's been tough sledding for him. And again, improving the interior of that offensive line would go a long way.
Yeah.
How do you do that besides who do you improve on the interior? Like, who needs to be improved?
Well, Brandon Sheriff is a impending free agent. And I think he's also probably the weakest link when it comes to the run game.
So you think a singular upgrade to Sheriff will solve the problems? Because everyone seems to love Cleveland.
Well,
and
also,
love Morris.
In all likelihood, coaching, right?
Okay.
And also, Anton Harrison,
in all likelihood, going to have a new offensive line coach and new run scheme.
And also, Anton Harrison hasn't been great at run blocking. It feels like we have an offensive line that's decent at pass protection, but just doesn't get much push in the run game.
Yeah, I think Anton has done a better job lately overall as a run blocker. But yeah, I mean, his calling card has always been protecting the quarterback. He struggled a little bit doing that earlier in the year, but I think he's played a lot better overall as of late. And really, the way I look at it, if you can have Ezra and Walker Little doing a good job in the run game, which they are, and then a right guard also doing a good job, and then develop somebody for the future at center. Maybe somebody who, if Mitch Morse is still on the team next year, and his legs are getting tired at the end of the year, then you can try this young gun who might be able to create some more push, something like that. I think that could be, if you don't have to have everybody on your line who's a great run blocker. And I also think this scheming it up can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
You see offensive lines that are less talented than the Jaguars' offensive line do a better job. You do.
Yeah.
Good point.
And we've talked this ad nauseum just about how bad coaching has been on the offense, and we're just in such a weird spot right now because, like, I mean, I see Jordan, he's pumping out all these coaching videos and talking GM stuff, and it's like, we haven't even fired anybody yet. We're just like hoping and praying that, because it only makes logical sense that Doug Peterson's gone, right? And almost makes super logical sense that Trent Baalke's gone. But I mean, we get this report from like Jordan Schultz, and I know a couple other people kind of talked about how, yeah, we expect Doug Peterson to be gone, but not so fast on GM Trent Baalke, and it's basically sounding like Trent Baalke will stay unless like coaching candidates just don't want to work with him, which I imagine that would happen too. So what are we in a situation where we fire Doug Peterson, then Thursday or Friday we say bye to Trent Baalke just because, like, oh, we evaluated things and he's out? Like, it's I don't know. Like, I don't know, Jason, do you think that both of them are gone, or do you think that somehow Trent Baalke finds his way to hire Matt Eberflus and we move?
I wish I could for a second get into the head of Shad Khan. I've never been able to since day one. I've never been able to predict a move he has done correctly. So I'm going to say he keeps Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson. I mean, probably not Doug Peterson, but I've been wrong about everything about Shad Khan since he bought the team. Every single thing. So let's try to do the George Costanza, do the opposite. And I'm going to say he's keeping Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson. Ideally, he fires both. The writing on the wall seems to seem like he's going to fire Peterson and keep Baalke. But to answer your question, I have no idea in hell what's going to happen.
So we're going to keep Baalke, keep Peterson, and fire the defensive coordinator.
Yes. Yes.
Fire the defense coordinator, fire the O-line coach, fire the wide receiver coach, and then we'll,
It's all Ethan Waugh's fault.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's just been a horrible assistant GM. No, I'm completely joking. I actually think he's done a lot of good things. But yeah, the thing about all these reports, what can you consistently say? What Jason just said. What you can consistently say about all the reports that have come out over the years, coming from whatever source within the building, they're almost always wrong or partially wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have no idea what they're going to do. We have absolutely no clue. That's the bottom line. And whatever we want to predict, like, we can predict this, we can predict that. Nobody knows what Shad Khan is going to do.
It's kind of like doing season projection win-loss at the beginning of the year. It's almost pointless.
Yeah, almost. Hey, we only did quarter season predictions.
Yeah, you're right.
I think I said 3-11, didn't I? I'm not going to go back and visit.
I think you said 11-3.
I'm pretty sure I said 3-11.
11-3.
I said.
I'll just say this: picking games week to week, I am 10-4.
Nice.
Look at this.
Not bad.
All right, Mr. Smart Guy, I got a question for you. Do you think that Brian Thomas Jr. would rather have Mac Jones as his quarterback than Trevor Lawrence?
Hell no.
Look at BTJ's stats with Mac Jones compared to Trevor.
What, can Trevor not throw a bubble
12
screen?
screens, dude.
Hey, 10
he's
catches,
getting the ball.
Catches,
He's getting the ball because Mac Jones can't throw it past the sticks. He's just getting.
So
the
who
ball
would
in the
Brian
backfield.
Thomas rather have as his quarterback then? Because
But
I've
you
seen
would
Trevor
rather have
Lawrence
Trevor Lawrence.
throw it 12 feet over open Brian Thomas Jr.'s head multiple times.
I mean, what Brian Thomas Jr. had like a 40-some yard catch on basically a slant on a, I don't know what you call that route, like a post in the middle of the field, and he took it, went a distance. He had like 3 or 4 bubble screens. Had a nice catch in the end zone. Had one that he actually dropped. That was actually a decent ball on the left sideline. But
Well, Trevor Lawrence would have thrown it to Dearness Johnson. So even if he was a slant route, it wouldn't have gone to him.
It was funny. It was funny.
The designed play.
It was funny. We ended the game with basically like the same way we ended the Philly game, just a little bit behind. Just like a bad throw to the left side of the field. But
I mean, obviously Trevor's better, but if you're Brian Thomas Jr., it's a serious question because
it's not.
Yeah, but go back to Brian Thomas Jr.'s first touchdown catch against the Dolphins.
Yeah,
like
Brian Thomas Jr. would be rather getting. I guarantee you, he'd rather have 5 catches for 120 yards than 11 catches for 120 yards.
Like, there's no doubt Trevor Lawrence is better than Mac.
That's not what I'm asking.
But Brian Thomas Jr. He needs to go to the coaching staff, and probably a coaching staff that isn't going to be around after 3 games. But whoever is coaching him, he needs to say, "Give me the damn football."
Yeah, I mean that's been a difference,
right?
They're actually finally targeting him.
Yeah,
and it's not just targeting him; like they are running plays that it's Brian Thomas Jr. is getting the football. It's not just that he's the first read; it's like he's getting the ball this play no matter what.
It only took us to be 2-8 in December for us to start figuring out that maybe we should start manufacturing some touches for him.
Yeah.
And
unbelievable.
Yeah. He's been.
I think over the last few weeks, I'm starting to fall off the Trevor train a bit, and I don't think it's good. I know it's stupid, and I know that like I'm not saying I'm giving up, but this season has really made me like question everything I've ever believed.
I will say with Trevor, I'm not like
Jags
pumping out. I'm not pumping out my chest about him. Like if other fan bases want to talk bad about him, like they can. I feel like a new coaching staff, someone that can bring the best out of him. It's just, I don't know. Like we sit here and complain about coaching like all the time. And yeah, I mean, I was a little bit disappointed this year because there were times where it's like, you got to make that throw, man. I mean, like a coaching staff isn't going to make you hit that out route on 3rd down, but I don't know. Like I'll let Jordan kind of speak on that.
Which quarterbacks in the NFL as of late have won Super Bowls without a running game?
Define running game. Running backs on the roster or what?
Come on. A functioning running game. So that's my first question. My second question is, or point, they have done such an abysmal job at outside wide receiver until Brian Thomas Jr. And still, even with Brian Thomas Jr., they only have one guy outside. And Christian Kirk's missed most of this year. Evan Ingram's missed chunks of games this year, and they're both out for the rest of the season. So is Trevor, obviously, which, by the way, he did have successful surgery. So that's awesome. Got past concussion protocol, had successful surgery on the shoulder. That's great news. Found that out today. Look, I know that it's difficult to sit here and argue against the numbers that people can bring up, like interceptions or fumbles or total turnovers or the Jaguars record. But and Lil Young says Marvin Jones wasn't bad. I agree. And if they had what Marvin Jones was during his first year here combined with Brian Thomas Jr. on the outside right now, they might have actually had something this year. But instead, they had like absolutely zero from Gabe Davis.
They haven't been able to replace Marvin Jones. I mean, they thought that, Gabe Davis was going to do it. Zay Jones, he signed after him, right? So
yeah, and Zay had a decent year.
Yeah.
And that year they actually did all right. And so you've got to have at least 2 good outside receivers. And part of the problem with this team too is like Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram eat in the same part of the field for the most part. Yeah, like Kirk can do he can do the slot fade, which so can Evan, but he can do the slot fade, the deep overs, things like that. But for the most part, they're intermediate to short guys. And they operate in the middle of the field. out of the slot. You have built a team that does not complement itself for the most part. And so they've got to go get another receiver to play outside. I think they keep one of Evan or Kirk, probably Evan because he's cheaper. And they've got to get a running game. And I think part of that is, as much as we love Tank Bigsby, he has ball security issues and he's still got to continue to develop. Travis Etienne, he hasn't developed. He has not developed at all. And you've got to get better blocking up front. All those things matter. And so until you see one or multiple of those things, I don't think it's really fair to sit here and say that Trevor Lawrence is not the guy. I really don't. I feel kind of the same way about a lot of the guys on defense as well this year.
I was about to say that. Yeah, I was about to pivot and ask both of you. We talk about the offense probably 75% of the time on this show, and which is fair because we have players on the offense and we have good skill position players and offensive coach and first overall pick quarterback and all that. But how do you fix the defense in 1 year? Like how does that happen?
That one's tough. You're especially coming off a game against the New York Jets where I can't sit here and really say anybody on the defense played well. I'm hoping that like with all these different coverage busts that somehow that is involved with coaching because, you know, when players are constantly in the wrong place on defense, it feels like, you know, with all these communication issues. I mean, it's not an issue of like this guy isn't fast enough or, you know, this guy isn't big, powerful enough. It's an issue of like they just aren't in the right place like all the time. So there's that. And you got to have a conversation with, you know, you look at the defensive line, like, you know, whoever comes in next year. I mean, Eric Armstead has such a high dead cap hit. He'll be on a team next year unless somebody wants to trade for him somehow. Like, you got to have a talk with them and say, dude, you're moving inside. Like, you're not this whole project with you trying to play outside. Like you're trying to rejuvenate your career in some sense. Like, I don't know what he's doing, man. Like, you know, you're not like, you don't play guard your whole entire NFL career and all of a sudden be like, you know what? I'm a left tackle. You're going to pay me like a left tackle in my 30s. Like it's not, it's basically the same thing, but on the defensive line. That's what he's doing. And they paid him for how he played at defensive tackle and thought it would somehow translate to defensive end when those are two completely different positions and take two completely different skill sets to play. And it's ridiculous because we go draft linebacker. We invest so much in linebacker, and we have like nothing to show for it. Like it's, you know, Foye Lukin, he good at times. I don't think he's having a very good year this year. Like Devin Lloyd,
I disagree.
But still, I mean,
I think
even
Foye is doing well.
But then we talk about like Devin Lloyd, like, you know, this was supposed to be his year. Where like year 3, it's time to prove it, and he hasn't proved it. You know, and that's a first-round pick wasted. And let's not talk about how we wasted another third-round pick in that same draft with Chad Muma. Wasted that. I mean, we've wasted
and a
so
fourth-round
much.
pick the next year.
Yeah,
so
on
look,
Ventrell Miller, who can't cover anybody.
In the matter of 2 seasons, the Jaguars spent a premium free agent signing on linebacker. They spent a second and a fourth-round pick on Devin Lloyd. They spent a third-round pick on Chad Muma, and they spent a fourth-round pick on Ventrell Miller. That is asinine.
It's bad,
unbelievable.
Man. Especially in 2023 or 2022, which draft? No, those 2022 draft where you draft Devin Lloyd, you draft Chad Muma, and you sign Foye Lukin, 3 linebackers all in one offseason. That's insane, man.
And if that wasn't enough, they even tried to trade up in the next draft to get Ventrell. They wanted to move up for him.
That's insane, bro. And this is a position that's not seen as like premier. You know, it's insane,
not,
man.
It's not a premier position.
Yeah. And this is another one of those things where, like, you know, when we talk about rebuilding a team, like what the Jaguars need to do this offseason. I know, you know, everyone's like, we need a executive vice president of football operations. I kind of disagree. Like just build this thing like a normal football team. Get your GM and head coach. And for me, like I know it's usually GM first. I would not mind getting a head coach in here first and allowing him to find a GM that will draft the type of players that he wants. Okay, and then they can build this thing together, move forward. I know it's usually GM first. Like, I don't know how you guys feel. Like, do you guys? You know, we'll start with you, Jason. Do you think that the Jaguars need an EVP And does it really matter to you, like, if the Jaguars get head coach first or GM first? Like, I guess, how would you rebuild this team?
Man, there's so many variables in in that answer. I mean, it's to me, I would get a GM that has a history of putting together good teams. I know that's such a basic answer, but you have to be able to put a team together through the draft and through free agency. Like, Trent Baalke is amazing at managing the cap and the contract situations. He's really good at that. But everything else, he just seems to be terrible at.
He's good at trading back in the first round.
Good. And I mean, he has hit on first round picks. Yes, 2 of them were number 1 overall picks, but he hits on the first round outside of Devin Lloyd. But he can't put a team together. And he's obviously not hiring the right people. To me, I want to coach. I've said this on the show before. I want a coach who's more of a culture guy. And that word is becoming like very prevalent now, which I'm happy about. But a culture guy that can come in and like get this team to play for something. And one of the things I love about the Lions is that Dan Campbell, he does the stupidest shit sometimes, like the onside kick. But you can compensate with that with having a culture where everyone's like, no, we're good. Like, we're good at everything he does. So, like, I don't care if it's an offensive guy, a defensive guy. I'm kind of coming around to Brian Flores a lot recently. And, like, I want a guy like that can come in and just get his team to all play at a level higher than they normally do. And I think that's what it takes to be successful. GMs, I don't know, man. Like, get a guy that can put a roster together. You know, Bill Belichick, he couldn't draft in the first round too well. I mean, he's picking late, but he could put a roster together. And so that's what I'm looking for. I don't know how you even, GMs and assistant GMs and VPs of player personnel and all that don't really get the same attention as coaches do. So Jordan could probably speak on that more than me, but a GM that can put a team together, a coach who can build a culture, that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, curious of you, Jordan. How are you rebuilding the Jaguars?
It's got to be a unified vision. Like, that is so, and obviously an understanding of the modern rules of the CBA. And like, they were almost there with Tom Coughlin, but he just was too old school, in my opinion.
It
They
almost
have
feels
got
like
to
Tom
get-
Coughlin with me. Tom Coughlin should have been here 1 year, just did his stuff, put everything in the right place, and stepped out. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, obviously,
Urban? That's what Urban did.
yeah,
He built the practice facility.
Miller Electric Center, baby. But yeah, I honestly think it's got to be 2 people that are just like-minded, that have each other's backs, that are all ball all the time, and want to build a culture that is all about winning, obviously, but transparency throughout. And I just feel like there hasn't been that at all since Trent Baalke's been the general manager. I think it's been, he's in his corner and he's trying to protect himself, whether he knows it or not. He just can't lead, right? And so I look at, again, I think it's hard for any of us on the outside to actually say, this guy's going to be the best head coach. This guy's going to be the best general manager. We're not going to be in those interviews. We're not going to be doing the background checks and all the vetting and all that stuff. We don't have the ability to do all that at an extremely high level. But to me, it's got to be 2 people who understand the modern game and have a vision that aligns with each other. And I know that might sound cliche, but it's got to be that way.
All right, Dalton, let's hear from you.
I mean, I kind of said it earlier. I mean, I would try to go out there and find the best head coach out there available. I mean, obviously, whether it's a Ben Johnson, I know Ben Johnson right now is a big fish. I mean, I would do pretty much anything right now to bring in a Ben Johnson, and then I would have him say, "Hey,
Why?
First of all, I think a lot of what he does fits what the Jaguars need. I mean, I look at what he did with Jared Goff, right? I mean, Jared Goff was basically given to them because the Rams didn't want him anymore. They disposed of him. They gave away 2 first-round picks to get him away in return for Matt Stafford. I mean, he was supposed to be the bridge guy, right? He was supposed to be the Lions get him. Lions go through a rebuild. They find a quarterback in the process, and they all of a sudden they're going to be good one day. But all of a sudden, Jared Goff became that dude again, and he's playing at his highest level that we've ever seen him play at. And a big reason for that is because he's in an offensive system that works for him. And I know right now we want to bring in the young offensive guy, the guy that's kind of come from a culture. And, you bring in a Ben Johnson, and he started off for the Detroit Lions in a pretty similar spot as the Jaguars. I mean, his first year coaching was the year after Matt Patricia left. And he was definitely probably a worse head coach than Doug Peterson is. So he came in there and he was a part of how they rebuilt that team. They fired their offensive coordinator in his first year mid-season in Dan Campbell's first year. They promoted Ben Johnson, and now that offense, I mean, it runs well.
Hold on. He's done a great job with the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Has Leon Cohen done a great job with the offense in Tampa?
He has.
Not as good as Ben Johnson.
Has Joe Brady not done a great job with the offense in Buffalo?
Yes.
Not as good as Ben Johnson.
So my question is, we have identified people that can do a good job on the offensive side of the ball. That does not make them necessarily good head coaching candidates. I just want everyone to understand that it's more than just get the best offensive guy in here and he's going to do a good job.
No, it's true. But the thing is, we don't get to sit in there on interviews. Like, we don't know. I mean, we've seen, who were some of the hot names out there? Like Kellen Moore was a guy that, a few years ago, he's always like, oh, Kellen Moore could be a good head coach, but he never gets a head coach job. Is it because, like, when he stands in front of a crowd, does he not demand the room? Like Dan Campbell, he isn't.
Tell you what, he's got that offense going in Philly this year.
Yeah, but is he a guy that can go up there in front of the whole entire team and try to rally and be that guy? Like sometimes
is Ben Johnson.
I don't know. And you don't know any of these guys, and that's the thing. Right. I mean, and you can one guy that about is Mike Vrabel. I know Jason talks about him all the time. I mean, he's a big culture guy, and if you bring him in, that'd be something great. And we thought the same thing with Doug Peterson. We were like, Doug Peterson, culture guy, won a Super Bowl. Like players, whenever we hired him, nobody said a bad thing about him. Like former players were talking so good about him. He seemed like the perfect fit, and all of a sudden it isn't. I mean,
I'll tell you what, I think I can say this confidently. I don't think that he has any connection to the modern player. And I think that has changed over the last 5-6 years.
It's about Vrabel?
Like the people.
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson. Okay. The people, the young kids coming in these days, I mean, they're born in like 2004, 2005. It's a different world with the transfer portal, with getting paid in college. These are different dudes. They just are.
Wait, you guys weren't born in 04? Wait, how old are y'all?
I was born in 2002.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Don't ID me. But yeah, and that's what's so tough. And like even, you look at some of the best head coaches right now. I mean, right now they're talking about Kevin O'Connell being the best head coach out there right now. I mean, he was an offensive coordinator for the Rams. He didn't even call plays for the Rams. You know what I mean? But we weren't in there in the interview room. Like we didn't hear like how he really spoke in front of an owner, in front of a GM. We don't know how, we didn't realize, I was really impressed with him when I was watching quarterback with Kirk Cousins, just how he just seems so in control. He seems so calm. Like, Kirk Cousins will throw a pick. He's like, it's all good, man. We got, what I mean? Like, and, we just need someone that can evolve to the game of the NFL because the NFL is ever changing it's not even a year to year. It's week to week. There's so many different wrinkles involved here. So I don't know. I think, going back to Ben Johnson, obviously what he's done with Jared Goff has been impressive. I've loved watching their offense play. I mean, it's a balanced, they do trick plays at the right time. Everything just flows so well over there. And, obviously you need a great O-line, they have a really good offensive line over there. But man, just somebody that can, bring them in. He brings a GM over, potentially someone from the Lions organization, and they know how they want to build things. They're locked, and that's the most important thing. Like, we can't just have a guy that's just gonna. We need the GM and head coach to be lock and step, and it doesn't feel like that is what Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson is. It feels like Trent Baalke's drafting guy. He's overdrafting guys because he wants to be the smartest guy in the room. He's looking at. I feel like he looks so much at ceiling instead of like what their potential floor can be. He brings them in there. Then I just don't know. We saw Mason Smith, second round pick, be inactive for however long. Both of the fourth round picks have been healthy scratches basically the whole entire year. It hasn't been enough, and that's what I think the Jaguars need one day.
Yeah.
To try to rebuild.
And I'll be honest with you, anybody would be excited about Ben Johnson, and rightfully so. And I think you can say the same thing about the other offensive guys. But my point is, you just don't know, especially because these guys haven't done it. You've never seen them in this situation. They've never been head coaches.
I don't know. I think I know, actually.
Okay. I'm glad you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know, Jason.
I almost lost to that little big man's comment. This is a non-topic. Baalke Peterson 2025.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe.
Dude, I might cancel my YouTube channel if that happens. I don't know. Like, I don't know how I could sit here because a lot of times what happens, we talk ourselves into things that happen. I don't know if you can't talk yourself into that one. You know what I mean?
Do you think that
but it Baalke,
Baalke, Tony Khan, and Shad Khan are just like a 3-man committee and they just vote on everything, and that's why they're not making any changes because they're like, this is all of our faults? I thought about that.
I don't know, man.
What do you think the chances of that are happening? Just like it's a 3-man crew in there. They're just getting everything wrong. They're like, well, we can't fire ourselves. I don't know. Maybe that's what's happening.
I mean, it always goes back to that like infamous, what was it, the 2013 or 2014 draft? They were looking at different war rooms, and the Jaguars war room was just Gus Bradley and Dave Caldwell just sitting there. It was pretty funny. But by the way, guys, video
war room's come a long way.
Absolutely. These streams are powered by BetUS. We're gonna go over here, check out their site, see what different cool odds they have going on here. Let's pull this up and. Okay, so lots of stuff. I mean, lots of scrolling you can do on here. NFL draft. We can do overall picks. Travis Hunter. I also want to go ahead and look at different Super Bowl odds. Super Bowl winner. Let's check these out and see if anything looks good. So right now, first overall pick, Shedeur Sanders, by far the favorite to be drafted number 1 overall, -165. Right behind him is Travis Hunter at +200. He actually has higher odds than Cam Ward. So we're starting to see some separation there between QB1 and QB2. And yeah, those are by far the highest odds. I mean, the next highest is at like
Don't bet Drew Aller. He's going back to school.
Drew Aller going back to school. Yeah, the third highest is Jalen Milroe, or fourth highest, I should say, Jalen Milroe, just because he's a quarterback. I can't imagine Jalen Milroe will rise above Shedeur Sanders, but those are all out there for you. And Travis Hunter be drafted as a wide receiver DB in 2025 NFL draft. Not to tease anything, but look, wide receiver is at +140. DB is at -190. Check out Jordan's video from earlier. He talked about where he would play Travis Hunter, and it's probably a little bit of a hot take, I should say. But
what if when he's drafted it says Travis Hunter, Colorado, wide receiver /DB? Do you win any money if that happens?
Actually, I don't know. I don't know what
What are the rules?
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll have to chat with Agent Mo.
Hey, I will tell you, I got a fat payday on the Jags game. I parlayed Brian Thomas's catches, yards, and Brenton Strange catches and yards. I got a fat payday.
Hell yeah.
Is that right? All right, I'm gonna chat with these guys.
Maybe that's why I had a good time in the game. Now that I think about it.
Okay, wide receiver /DB. I'm gonna see what Mo says about this. Meanwhile, we can go down here and Super Bowl odds. Right now, actually, I'll ask you guys. So you guys think the favorite is to win the Super Bowl right now?
Lions. Well, a lot of injuries, but still Lions.
Chiefs for the okay. I think both of you guys are wrong. Right now, Chiefs +550.
Oh, that's my favorite. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was talking BetUS's favorite. Bills. I think that is correct, actually. No, the Eagles, right? No, Bills. Bills +450. Eagles +475. Chiefs +550. Ravens +800. Then I think it's a pretty big gap.
The Eagles?
Look at all these Super Bowl eligible teams, man. 28 teams eligible to win Super Bowl.
Do you think it's because the Lions had all those injuries?
probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's what
they
it
just
is.
lost this last
100%.
weekend. I mean, they're I mean, do you see how many points they're being put up against the Lions these last couple weeks?
Their defense is just obliterated.
Yeah. Okay, so Mo's gonna reach back out to us. He's typing right now. Love to see what he says, but we need to wait for your wager to be graded in order to get an official answer. All right. Thank you, Mo. All right, so it's good to know. But yeah, we will put up a bet on Super Bowl. How about that? We'll do a Super Bowl one. I think, gosh, this one's hard because I felt like it's been the Bills for so many times, and then the Lions, they're not playing as good. Philadelphia plus 475. You know, I'm gonna go random. Okay, why not the LA Chargers?
It's a bad bet.
Yeah,
That's
I
why.
agree. Yeah,
Bad bet.
agree.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I might put $20 on here, and you
Hey.
can't have a piece of my $1,000
Hey,
here.
you know what? If you want to make
It's all
some money,
you, bud.
if you want to make some money, bet the Vikings.
Where the Vikings?
Look at those odds.
Plus 1,200.
Bad bet.
Parlay the Vikings and the Chargers.
Parlay this. Aren't you the betting guy? You're telling me to parlay. Okay, come on now. What else do we have on here? New Orleans Saints plus 100,000. You know, there's no Jaguars on here to bet, which is unfortunate. But I'm gonna put money on. Look, the Chargers. You know, Jim Harbaugh. You got Justin Herbert. We've seen stranger things happen.
Playing through ankle injuries.
And honestly, the
Bad
AFC
bet.
is so. But man, I said that. I felt like last week the NFC was like the Lions slam dunk, but now they're getting more injuries and Eagles are looking good.
It was
I don't know.
always
This
the
one's-
Eagles. It's always the Chiefs. That's what it is.
Honestly, I might just the Chiefs. Honestly, like they're sleepwalking to their way through the season. You know what I mean? And they always wind up winning. So I'll just go ahead and put the Chiefs. Why not? And we'll see if we
That's
win.
a good bet.
I'm telling you, man, the Vikings. Put a little 5 spot on the Vikings.
Yeah,
We'll do
Sam
that next
Darnold
week.
is going to lead the Vikings to their first ever Super Bowl.
Dude, imagine that future
Oh,
Tennessee
yeah.
Titan, Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are
That's
It's not going to
interested,
be Sam Darnold. It's going to be Jordan Jefferson. That does.
but if you guys are interested in placing any of these wagers, BetUS has a 150% deposit bonus for you guys using promo code YouTube150. So appreciate them for supporting the channel. So with that said, Jaguars have 3 games left in the season. Okay, I want to know what are you guys' record predictions for how we finish up? Of course, we have the Raiders this weekend, which, in case you guys aren't checking time, it's a 4:25 kickoff. So don't turn the TV on at 1:00. Do something with your family. Do some Christmas stuff and say, you know what, Jaguars aren't important to me anymore.
What a
I'm going to be
shame
home at
that
4:00
is.
and just you know.
Oh,
So
what was that word you used? Family?
family, yeah, family.
Okay. I'll
Like
look that one up.
us and our cats, you know.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. I get it. I get it.
So yeah, so Jaguars 3 games left. Raiders, Titans, Colts. I want to know your guys' predictions for our record in the next 3 games. Jordan, we'll start with you.
2-1.
2-1. What about you, Jason?
To my
0-3.
dismay.
0-3, you think, Jason? I hope.
Yeah.
You really think?
Yeah,
0-3?
I'm with you, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think 2-1. I think we beat the Raiders and we split. We either beat the Titans or beat the Colts. Colts are awful, bro. Like they are so not up to their record right now. Like they have a decent. I think they're like 6-8 right now. Like, dude, they're not that good. And dude, Anthony Richardson's floor is crazy. Like he struggles to throw for 50%. He'll throw for no touchdowns, get a couple picks. He is just that'll be one interesting to watch.
Let me tell you something right now.
Mac Jones is going to make money against the Colts.
If Aaron freaking Rodgers can rush for 46 yards against the Jaguars, how many yards do you think AR-15 is running for?
Probably a lot. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's what we'll do.
They're going to
Mac
hit
Jones
the
will-
crap out of AR-15. That you have to understand. I know you do. Game plans are going to be completely different defensively against AR-15 versus
Yes, absolutely.
Aaron
They weren't
Rodgers.
game planned at all for any Aaron
my,
Rodgers
I
runs.
didn't, my bad. I didn't think about the game plan that Doug Peterson and his coaching staff were going to put together. I didn't factor that in. That's my bad. That's
Dude,
my bad.
Ryan Nielsen has a substitution
just the way
packages
they're
ready.
going to try to play that game.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
style
Ryan
of
Nielsen's got
game.
it. Ryan Nielsen's got it for sure.
Dude, Ryan
I'm
Nielsen.
not
and
saying
the
he's got it.
substitution
I'm
packages.
just saying I would not be surprised if they beat the Colts. I would not be surprised if Mac Jones has his best game of the year against the Colts. Doug Peterson knows how to destroy Gus Bradley's defense.
You know, here's
He's done it
here's
time
what
and time again.
here's what the Jaguars will do. Who was the quarterback that we had before Brunell that had the one game and got traded to the
Burline.
Bills? No,
Steve
it was
Oh,
Doug
Rob
Johnson, wasn't
Johnson.
it? Rob
Oh,
Johnson.
Rob Johnson.
So here's what
That wasn't
will do.
before Brunell. That was during a Brunell injury.
Yeah,
stint.
but here's what's going to happen. Okay, Mac Jones takes off final week against the Colts. We franchise tag him. We trade him for a first round pick. We use that pick for Ashton Gentry, or however you say his name, from the Boise State. We'll pull off a Fred Taylor trade, and we got our future at running back. Jordan, your thoughts?
If they franchise tag Mac Jones, ain't nobody trading for him. They're gonna be stuck with him,
Don't be a hater.
or they're gonna rescind it eventually.
You got to risk
That would
it
be
to get the
that would be
biscuit,
so
don't you,
Jaguars
Jason?
to have egg on your face. Oh, somebody's gonna trade us. No.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, listen, Mac Jones is at least entertaining. Okay. If we're going to lose, I'd rather see an entertaining quarterback talk shit.
Is he entertaining though? He had like one
No.
good game. What about the Titans game? That
I'm
was
talking about he's
terrible.
entertaining, like the way he acts and like
Dude.
his antics.
He can't complete a pass more than 10 yards, man.
Hey, listen, if they teach you one thing at the bowl school, it's how to be entertaining. All right.
Dude,
So I think we're okay.
You're stretching this Jets game over the course of like 5 or 6 games, dude. He's been awful to watch, bro.
And he wasn't good against the Jets. They literally were running an offense where he was throwing screens and like quick outs.
Anything downfield, like it's either just terribly off target or just out of bounds and not catchable.
Yeah, or intercepted. Yeah.
Wait, are we talking about Mac or Trevor?
We're talking about Mac.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Trevor Lawrence, despite your poor memory, has been the best deep passer in the NFL the last 2 years.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. So good.
I mean, he literally is by the numbers, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
just got to be able to hit the layup.
Your
right?
anecdotal memory is much better.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, but successful surgery for Trevor, right? Hopefully, we haven't heard
And
anything
Evan.
about his concussions. Like, I hope that's all good.
It is. He can't have surgery until he's cleared the concussion protocol. He cleared it Sunday morning, which is why he was on the sideline with the boys on Sunday having a good time.
Nice.
Good.
And successful surgery yesterday. Same thing with Evan Ingram. So that's great for both of those guys because that's not a long recovery. They should both be good for off-season program.
Yeah, if we want to shut anybody else down, I mean, if Josh Hines out, Trayvon Walker, you guys need any surgeries, step on out. I'm trying to think of any other good players that
I
we
want to
have.
see
I wanna
Josh
keep
break
seeing-
some records, man.
Yeah, it's true. What is he? 2 sacks away from franchise record in sacks?
Something like that.
I don't know. He didn't. I think it was like 3, but he didn't do anything against the Jets. I don't know. It's been a tough year, man. It's been a tough year, but we've been hanging on in there. We've been hanging on in there.
Not a tough year at the club. If you can get into the club, this
That's
is the
what I'm
place
saying,
to be.
bro.
It's the place to be.
You guys are all VIP, man. This is the place to be. I envisioned better, more exciting stuff here. I was thinking that I don't know. I don't remember if I predicted us to go 3-11. I don't think I did, but
I don't think
I was picturing us maybe making a playoff hunt. I mean, the freaking Houston Texans just clinched the AFC South at like 8-5 or something, 9-5. Like they had no pushback. Like they're 4-1 against the AFC South, lost a random game to the Titans. It's been how disappointing. I mean, everybody in the AFC South should be shamed. Even the Texans. I mean, they're going to go 1 and done in the playoffs probably. I mean, their offense has been pretty abysmal. They just have such a freaking good defense. It's and people aren't very happy right now. People are talking some murmurs about CJ Stroud, maybe a sophomore slump. I don't know. Bunch of them blaming coaching, kind of like us, right?
Well, it can't be the player's fault. Can't be the player's fault. It's got to be someone else's fault.
Is that what we do for Trevor?
I would
Jason?
honestly say it is there with the injuries with Nico. When he's been healthy, they've been pretty damn dynamic.
Yeah.
And their offensive line just completely fell apart. That is the most bewildering thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
Talented guys.
Yeah. We'll see. But all right, guys, this has been your latest episode of Club Jaguar here. 3-11 version of Club Jaguar. 3 games left. Of course, we have Jason and Jordan with us. Jordan, you've been putting out a bunch of content over there on your channel, GenJag. Tell us about what you've been putting up and what you got coming up.
Well, talked about Liam Cohen today, which I think would be a exciting name as a head coach potentially. But again, as I've said, we don't know. We really don't know how these guys could perform as head coaches that haven't done it before. But he's an exciting offensive guy. He's done really good work with Baker and some others. Talked a lot about the draft. We'll continue talking about the draft. We'll continue looking at potential ways they can improve through free agency, all that good stuff. I will talk, at least in one video, about the Raiders game as well. Why I think the Jaguars are going to win that game.
Is that going to be a short or is that going to be a full video?
Full video, man. We don't do shorts.
Look
I'm
at
not
you.
into the short form content. I tried it. I hate it.
Dude, it's hard, man. It's like I had to like do like 2 per week, and it's man, it's hard. It's definitely hard because you got to get concise. You got to throw, nice little video edits up there. Got to get the captions. It's tough. I'll say it's tough, but people like it for whatever reason. So we're gonna keep doing it. Jason, you got any film breakdowns coming up on Friday? What you got coming up for us?
Jaguars gave up on me. I gave up on the Jaguars, so I'm gonna say no on that. No, I'm gonna just be doing some live shows. I actually have the next 2 weeks off starting tomorrow. So
nice.
there's gonna be
Christmas break.
All kind of shenanigans, I'm guessing, are going to happen. I did want to say a quick shout out to Rasheed Mathis, who got elected to the 2025 Black College Football Hall of Fame playing at Bethune-Cookman. I think people sometimes forget how good Rasheed Mathis was. And sometimes when we get into these dark times with the Jags, some things that can be nice is remembering the good times. And Rasheed Mathis was a beast. So big shout out to Rasheed.
He should be in the Pride.
Yeah. Shout out to him. Glad to see that.
We have no defensive players in the Pride. Yeah.
Yeah, good to see him get some notoriety because he was a beast. I really enjoyed watching him. So
I'm in a 2nd round pick out of Bethune-Cookman. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
No, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Great
he would have
football
gotten
player.
$3 million to transfer to Oregon, and he would have been,
I know,
never
right?
elected to the Black College Hall of Fame.
Transferred out of there with the Phil Knight unlimited NIL money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah,
exactly.
It's definitely a different era now. But yeah, you can check out Jason.
And he was a Steeler killer.
Mhm.
He
Let's
was.
not forget that. Okay.
He was to the Steelers what Derrick Henry was to us, pretty much.
Oof, too soon. Too soon.
Why?
Too soon?
Why'd you have to say that?
Yeah.
Well, he's on the Ravens now, and it's a pleasure watching him run wild on the on the Ravens because like Titans fans, they're like very, very like, man, we should have had him, but we couldn't give him what he wanted and what he deserved. So
An Athletic mock draft dropped today where they drafted Genty at 6, and that's just like the last thing the AFC South
no,
needs.
please don't. Like I feel like these Colts, you guys can draft running back if you want. Even Texans you can, but I don't need any more good running backs for the Titans. It's just I'll take Tony Pollard, even though Tony Pollard had like over 100 rushing yards on us. I'll take those guys over these big athletic beasts out there. But knowing us, he'll probably go there. But yeah, appreciate everyone for being here. Shout out to BetUS for powering this stream. Both these guys' channels are linked down below. So go down there, give them a subscription. We know it's dark times, but it's never dark up here in Club Jaguar. That's for damn sure. Shout out to BetUS for powering these streams. Drop a like on your way out and go Jags.